When people from different cultural backgrounds come together, as often happens in today's multicultural classrooms and workplace context, the attribution of meaning and motives to certain behaviors can easily cause misinterpretation or misjudgment. Recall about the situations where you were involved and where you saw something which was not aligned with your cultural expectations. What happened? Think about how you reacted in front of something you were not familiar with. I share a few personal cases I had in class. Once, a US student stood up and complained about the amount of readings and close deadlines I gave them. More recently, a French student wrote me an email complaining about the low grade I gave him on an individual assignment. In his view, I wasn't clear to say that the assignment would have been considered for the final mark. These are just two examples of events that really surprised me because of the cultural mismatch. Both cases weren't easy for me to digest. Indeed, in both cases, I was a bit annoyed. I had to control my emotions and the ways I reacted, and I had to force myself to avoid making a negative judgment of the students involved. In the university system I studied, we used to have 3-5 books to read for each exam. A huge amount of work if compared to what my students have to do today. I would have never questioned a grade with a professor. I could have asked the reason why, but without expecting the grade to be discussed, changed, or negotiated. Even less I could ever consider saying to my professor he or she wasn't clear with the assignment's instructions, especially after having received the grade. I could have asked for instructions clarification before, but without saying the professor wasn't clear enough, and for this reason I got a low grade. Similar situations occurred also outside the class context. For instance, the first time I went to a Muslim country for working reasons, I was surprised by the gender separation in class, but also in social moments such as at lunch or in the mosque. It is not something I was used to. The context where I come from, women and men are more mixed and they relate to each other more easily. Or the first time I attended a conference in Stockholm, in Sweden, I missed a conference social event on a boat because I was 2-3 minutes late. When I arrived at the harbor, the boat already left. I absolutely did not expect the boat to leave so punctual, particularly for a social event. And that was unbelievable for me. Where I come from, 10-15 minutes late is at least tolerated. And actually, the social events organizer had my same kind of experience. Like me, she arrived at the harbor a few minutes late, like me, and we actually arrived together at the harbor, and we thought the Swedish were obsessed by punctuality and by being on time. Think about your experience. How did you react when what happened did not match with what you expected? Experiencing cultural diversity means to challenge the fact that there is a unique right or best way, or a unique way of doing or of thinking. It doesn't mean we have to renounce our identity or system, but it definitely means we need to be able to first start to recognize that our own behaviors, our way of thinking, even what we pay attention to, is not culturally neutral, but it is influenced by our cultural background. And it is just one among others. And this happens with people who are different from us, people coming from a different country, people who do have a different gender, a different generation, a different professional background, and so on.